Hey everyone, Brian with Flight-io. Today we're going to be sharing some new features that are launching today to the application. So we'll jump right in. So first, actually a few weeks ago in our 1.5 version release, we actually released Vat Track, which is a really nice, it's in progress map for tracking VATSIM flights. So let's open that up and take a look. So probably similar to some other tools you've seen out there that do similar things, but it's really going to show you all of the current flights on VATSIM. You can toggle weather on and off here. You can see different ATC that is online. When we click into them here, we can see ATC details. Oops, open that up again. So we can see the frequencies that they're logged into, ground, ATIS, a couple different ATISes at this location. And then same with flights as well. We can click into individual flights. We can see the call sign, airport information, how far along they are, a quick flight status, speed, altitude, to-go miles, nautical miles, and then some other information from VATSIM. So really useful to kind of keep an eye on flights. This can actually be opened as a standalone application or standalone map to keep open, or you can actually open it within the Flight-io EFB as well. So two different ways you can use it. I know some people like to just have a map open separately as they're flying, so this is a way you can do that. Also at the top here, we can search call signs. So like if I wanted to find a certain Delta flight, I can start searching up here, and we can just click into whatever flight that you're looking to find. Zoom right into it. If we zoom out a little bit, we can see where they are. So you have search there. We also have a streamers feature, and this is completely free. All you need to do is just add like your Twitch or your YouTube link in the remarks section of your VATSIM flight, and then you'll get a quick little call out here for streamers as well. So no cost for this, you're completely free, no subscription. Just add your Twitch link in your VATSIM remarks, and your call sign will show up here. And when you click into them, let's do Kev124. It'll bring you right there, and their Twitch link will be clickable directly there in their
currently starting a descent.
So
the captain will now open the
as we can see, we can go right into to streams as well. So that is Vat Track. Let's move on. So next on our list is the Vat Track banner. Let me jump into flight-io here. Let's jump into the banner settings. So we'll come down here to the flight status controls. And we can see that there's some new options here. So normally we've always done the flight stats banner, where we can kind of see our boarding status. Depending, we can manually control what stage of the flight that we're in, begin check-ins and things like that. So these first two checkboxes are the old ones. They've been there. They're still completely usable if you're not flying on VATSIM. One of the pieces of feedback we received, however, is it'd be nice if things could auto-update, so you're not having to kind of play around with this while you're flying and be more hands-free. So that's where the Vat Track Stats banner comes in handy. So I'm going to open that up now. Right now, it doesn't have any information because I am not online on VATSIM with this call sign, so we actually need to find one. Let's actually jump into the Vat Track Map, and this is the other view I was talking about. You can open it up right here in the EFB. And let's just find a random flight here, just so we can kind of see one in progress. Let's maybe find someone at an airport. Sure, well, trying to find one that's like doing something. Here we go. Delta Flight 1907. Let's copy their call sign. And let's just paste it in here. Now this updates every 20 seconds. It's not going to show up instantaneously at the banner up here. So sometimes just wait up to 20 seconds. It's going to refresh every 20 seconds with the live VATSIM data. So now up here at our banner, we can see that the current status that we just saw, they left the gate, the aircraft, their current speed in knots, altitude, to-go distance to their destination, which is still over here. We can see they're going from, well, actually, sorry, some of this information is pulled from the flight plan, so it doesn't actually update everything based on the call sign. So again, normally if this was my call sign, all this information would be accurate. But this portion here from the status to the right is really the new update. And then also there's kind of a scrolling panel here that'll show you basically estimated gate arrival time and all that based on your flight plan, so you still have some of that information. So that is the new banner. Let's actually jump back here. While we're on this page, there's also some checkbox items that you notice here. So we also have a group flight members table now. So right here, if you click that open, you're going to actually see a table down here that'll open up. And this is really going to filter by anyone that is traveling from your departure location to the same arrival location. So really handy if you're flying in a group and you just kind of want to quickly see where people are at. Right now we can actually see there's another JetBlue flight here that is, they're en route already. They're about 300 miles ahead of the current person we're tracking. You will always appear as this kind of magenta colored line here, and it's always going to be sorted by who is closest to the destination, so you can kind of keep track of who's in front of who during the flight. Also really handy for event flights, and this list can be huge for people flying from the same locations. Let's actually, you know what? Let's see if we can find one. All right, found a good example to show for a group flight here. So yeah, we can see we found this DHL flight here, which is our magenta line. That's basically us. So we're about 64 nautical miles away from our arrival. And we can see all the other flights here going from the same location. So we have some Ryanair flights, we have an EasyJet flight, we have a FedEx flight here, and you can kind of keep this open just to kind of see where people are at, how far behind they are. You know, we can see this Ryanair flight is arriving shortly, so pretty handy table to keep open. All right, so next let's take a look at proximity tables. So that's another feature here, as you can see with the group flight members table right underneath. You can open them both up at once, or you can have them open separately. Let's actually just open up the proximity table now. So I went ahead and switched to a different flight on Vat Track here. Again, this would normally just be yourself, but we are going to take a look at American Airlines 1613, which let me just find, it's one of these flights here. We're looking at Miami. There we are. So they're in pre-departure right now. And we can see that there's a few aircraft around. So let's just verify. In our proximity table, looks like we have another American Airlines in pre-departure from Miami. We have two of them actually. So we have 317-2634. See if we can find them. 2634, there's one. And there's 317. And then we also have this UAC flight here, which is not filed. And we can see that right here. So this is actually within a 1 nautical mile proximity of our current location. We can also expand this out. So if we actually go to 2 nautical miles, we see another one got added here. I'm guessing this is probably this guy over here, American Airlines 1569, who's currently en route. Yep, so we can see those details here. So really nice place to kind of see everyone that might be at your current airport, just to kind of see what else is going on. And then we can even expand this out. So maybe if you're in flight and you want to see people within like a 50-mile radius of you, you can do that as well, and then start expanding it, seeing more people in flight. It goes all the way up to 200 miles, so this table gets larger. The other thing I wanted to call out too is we now have a database of over 900 basically call sign logos for different flights. So you should start seeing actual logos show up for different airlines as well. You will see for some of them, if you see like this plane icon here, that is the default. That just means that there is not currently a logo. But if it is something we're missing, you always let us know in the community. We can always get logo files added to this as well. So that is it on the proximity table. Yeah, so let's actually move on to some of the new changes with the AI cabin crew announcements. So let's just verify. So normally, as you know, if you've used these announcements before, you need to make sure that you have all of your flight data entered here. If any of this is blank, it can kind of cause some wonky things to happen. Sometimes it'll work with missing information. Other times there might be required information that'll actually cause an error to happen. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and put in an airline name here. We leave this editable just in case you have like a custom airline or something like that. You can go ahead and do that. And then most of this is pulled from SimBrief. Again, you can do it manual or you can pull it from SimBrief, and you can edit all of this as needed. So the first thing I'm going to do is generate a flight crew. And let's take a look here. This interface looks a little bit different than it used to. So normally, you can still generate a random flight crew as many times as you want here, and it will give you random names for people that are going to be making announcements and kind of mentioned in your flight crew announcements. So you can still click this as many times as you want. The nice thing now, though, is it's completely editable. Anyone in your cabin crew, you can change their name here. So if I wanted to make this, Bugs Bunny, whatever I want, I can do that here. The other thing is you can actually change the OpenAI voice. So I'm going to go ahead and click this link here, which will bring us to OpenAI's page. If you scroll down a little bit, they give you samples of each of the voices they offer here. So if you want to test and see what they sound like.
In the heart of the city, there is a large park where people go to relax. The library is a quiet and peaceful place.
The train chugged along the tracks, carrying
In the kitchen, the aroma of freshly baked.
Yeah, you get the idea. You can go ahead and just kind of play and hear what the voice is going to sound like, depending on which one you want to use. So jumping back here, the other thing that we've changed a little bit is we've added some personalities. So you can actually kind of play around with different personalities here. So one of the requests we got was, if the maybe we're doing a safety announcement, the flight attendant's doing it, and you want to have some jokes in there and things like that, you can set this to comedian, and it'll actually, in the persona of a comedian, write a script for cabin crew announcements, and you'll hear some jokes in there, which is really nice. And we'll actually play a quick recording of that in just a little bit, so you can kind of get an idea what that sounds like. So this is new, really great for customizing your cabin crew announcements a little bit more. Let's actually jump to the announcements page now. So again, this is still an open beta. It's definitely still being tested, kind of experimental. Really cool though, but we have these disclosures here just to make sure that you're reading the terms and conditions. There is a little bit of a cost associated with it, and you providing your own OpenAI key that's not payment to flight-io. It's just directly with OpenAI to use their services. So yeah, just make sure you're understanding that. And then there's also some things just saying, I've ensured that I've completed that flight data form just to make sure I'm not going to have any issues. So once that is all done, this page should look pretty familiar. You can manually trigger your announcements with these buttons right here at any time. New feature though, we have this enable announcement autopilot feature. So with this, we've received some requests saying, hey, it would be nice, once we're automatically, or we've already pushed back, it would be nice if the safety announcements just started playing. Or once we've landed, it would be nice if the crew just, automatically started doing their announcements so that I don't have to be trying to come in here and manually trigger it when I have a bunch of other things I'm doing, and sometimes I forget. So that's exactly what this is for. You can go ahead and give the control, not for all of the announcements, but for the ones that the cabin crew is doing, or even the gate attendants. You can go ahead and select which ones you'd like to automatically trigger. So for pre-boarding, it's going to start 10 minutes before your scheduled boarding time. This is going to be dependent on these times that are set here, either from SimBrief or however you manually edit them. So this is the time that it's going to base that off of. Boarding will play at the scheduled boarding time, so exact same thing. When your scheduled boarding time is there, that is when that announcement will trigger. The safety announcement will play once your Vat Track status is left a gate. So again, this is dependent on you flying on the VATSIM network. That is where it's getting these statuses from. You can actually use the pre-boarding and boarding ones without VATSIM because it's basing it off of your flight plan time, but the safety and landing are required to be on VATSIM so that it knows when you've actually started moving from the gate, and then also when you've landed after landing when the announcement needs to play. So just realize that if you're not on VATSIM, these aren't going to work as expected. And it's also going to keep track too. So sometimes, like let's say for the safety, you push back from the gate and it's saying that you've left the gate, and then you come to a stop for a while and it actually switches back to like a pre-departure status. And then you move again and then it says left gate again. To stop it from kind of triggering multiple times while you're taxiing, it has a counter, so it's only going to let it trigger once, and then it's going to be disabled so that it can't play anymore. unless you come down and click it manually. If you need to do that, you can always click these buttons manually, and that'll override that. But once you are ready, or you want it to auto trigger again, so let's say, for example, maybe you're doing multiple flights. You do one leg and then you want to reset a flight plan and then do another leg and have these work again. We have this reset autopilot announcements button, which will basically reset everything back to default for you. So just make sure you're clicking that between flights. And there's a little bit of a note here to remind you of that as well. So that is the nice new update on the announcements. What else do we have here? Oh, debug log. This actually has already been released within the last week, and this is really, again, this is still in beta. If there is any time that you use the service and maybe you don't get an announcement or something happens not as expected, and you feel like you've gone through all of these steps, this debug log here will actually print out some really useful information on what happened on the back end, like what API calls happened, whether they were successful, whether they failed, if there were any error messages. It'll print out all of the information that you entered. It masks your API key, so you don't have to worry about that being, sent or being shown up in plain text. So that'll still be completely concealed. But all of the other information, like what you've entered here, your flight crew and everything, will all be visible. So if you're ever feeling like something's not working, then, copy this debug log and go to our support page. We have a link right here, and just kind of post the problem, and we'll, investigate and help you out as best as we can to figure out what's going on with that. So nice new feature just to kind of help when issues do arise in troubleshooting those. That is the features for the release that'll be coming out actually probably within the next couple of hours. So last thing to mention is just, our community. Just to keep in mind here, we do have, two things. We have a knowledge base here. These instructions for these new features will be added here shortly. They're not there yet, but they will be soon. So we have this knowledge base page to kind of go through videos, articles on how to use all of the features of the tool. And we also have our community page. Let me actually just jump back here. I'm going to go to forum. So yeah, on GitHub, you do need an account to post things. You don't need an account to review things, but if you want to keep track of, our latest announcements, our version release, which we'll have some release notes on this soon, feel free to come to our community page here. We have different, announcements, beta testers group, ideas. If you have any ideas, just, chatting in general, this is where this is all tracked. So definitely check it out. That's all for today's video. Hope you guys enjoy the new features, and happy flying.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for choosing to fly with us today, or your travel agent did, or a travel app did. Either way, we're stuck with each other for the next few hours, so let's make the best of it. My name's Sally, and I'll be your head flight attendant today on this beast of a metal bird, the Phoenix A320. Before we depart, I'm going to perform a one-woman show entitled How to Stay Safe at 35,000 Feet Without Really Trying. First, we're on flight number 1613, not to be confused with the historical year 1613 when Shakespeare was at his peak and in-flight snacks were just a dream. Now let's buckle down, quite literally. To fasten your seatbelt, insert the metal end into the buckle until it clicks and pull the loose end to tighten. To open, lift on the top of the buckle. And remember, the belt should sit low and tight across your lap, just like the jeans I tried to fit into from high school. In the event that the cabin pressure changes, masks will drop from the ceiling, startling everyone. Don't worry, it's not a surprise party. Pull the mask down to start the flow of oxygen. Cover your nose and mouth and breathe normally. If you're traveling with children or anyone acting like a child, secure your own mask before helping them. In the rare event we turn this comedy into a water-based show, you'll find a life vest under your seat. Slip it over your head, fasten the straps, and inflate it by pulling the red tabs or blowing into the tubes. And voila, you're looking haute couture in your safety gear. In the Phoenix A320, we have 8 emergency exits, 2 up front, 4 over the wings, and 2 at the back. They're all clearly marked, but in case of an emergency, just follow the glowing red lights or the smell of my stress sweat. Please take the safety card out of the seat pocket and give it a read. It's got pretty pictures and everything. It's like the comic book of the airline world. As we prepare for takeoff, ensure your seat backs and tray tables are upright, personal items are stowed, and electronics are in airplane mode. If you don't know what airplane mode is, you're probably still rocking a Nokia 3310, and we all envy your battery life. And finally, smoking is not allowed on this flight. That includes e-cigarettes. If you're caught smoking, you'll be asked to step outside. Ladies and gentlemen, we aim to make this flight as enjoyable as possible. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask. After all, we're all in this together, literally. Thank you for choosing American Airlines. Enjoy your flight.